All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. We've almost made it to the end of the week. Tomorrow it'll be TGIF, right? And I guess we'll be this again. We're here with Jenkins. He's not napping in his bed. He's very active. Got his little squeaker toy. It's like a chirping mouse thing. So he's been a little bit more energetic, I guess, today. Oh. Isn't that right, Jenkins? Oh, buddy. Anyway, we are back with some more Roadwarden. I had just gotten to oh gosh, I can't remember what the town name is called now. It's the one where they were basically resurrecting, like they were actually bringing the undead back and using them for like servitude, because actual undead are a problem around here, but these ones apparently are just workers. They're just mindless. Various states. There's some that are like just skeletons, some that are, well, more recent, I guess. And they're just doing various tasks. Thankless tasks, as they put it, compared to the actual villagers, the living ones. So I'm currently talking to the mayor of the town. He sizes you up. And I'm Helvius. Who let you in? Was it Thyrsus? He's as much a gatekeeper as a fly is a warden to a piece of shit. He gives you a telling frown. Let's see. I'm sure he realized I may be of use here. Don't boast. Those like you help others when your pouch gets empty. And we've no need of you here. He starts to twist his wrists, spinning his weapon slowly. Take a good look around while you can. White Marshes isn't for strangers. The turf houses are old, covered with lush grasses and flowers, and you can't imagine any large family fitting inside such small, one-chambered huts. The alleys are so narrow that only one cart could squeeze through them at once. Your boots are sunk into the mud, the square is covered with deep boot prints. The noise of hammers, shouting, wood splitting, and the shuffling of undead legs pierces through the constant buzzing of insects. Hoss snorts, hunting down flies with its tail. I notice that there's only one elder in sight, and he's observing me. He's standing on the top of a wooden platform by the building that's unlike any other in the village. His eyes are keen. The left one is dark, and the right one is gray, bright. His head and face are shaved, and his simple, undyed robe is in even worse shape than the outfits of his tribesfolk. Once Helvius realizes what you're looking at, he lowers his weapon and clears his throat, like a boy caught red-handed. The elder walks away, holding a walking stick with one hand and touching a wall with the other. Orentius, says the mayor, the priest of our fellowship, and the one who saved our people. He raises his hand, pointing at the dead shells bustling around the construction site. I look at the undead workers. They don't bother you? I used to listen to stories about them as a kid. He nods for you to follow him. But Orentius taught me they're no different than borers in fire. He dashes forward and swings his poleaxe, bashing a skeleton's shoulder. The arm sinks into the mud, while its owner, a bit awkwardly now, keeps trying to climb up a ladder. Helvius bursts into laughter, and the locals look away without a word. See, he continues, leading you back to the well. All you need's control. Look here. He points at a dead shell with remains of flesh on its chest and head. There's a white and brown sparrow sitting on its shoulder, preening its feathers. Even beasts know they've got not a thing to worry about. The Woken are now like they were yesterday, like they were in spring, like they were a year ago. Leave worrying about them to idiots and unites. I hear what you say about the Awoken, but your tribe used to be strong without them. So what, Warden? What was 10 years ago isn't, and what isn't doesn't matter. We needed to trade, yet the others pushed us away. We won't let them choose for us ever again. Okay. So he's probably not going to just let me put that up here now. It seems like everyone has been very keen to not let Eudosha, or not let me put Eudosha's rods in these towns. They don't like her. I'd like to learn more about White Marshes. Don't bother. Both us and yourself. The tribe's been taming the bogs for 5 generations. Bah the fields. He moves toward the gate, as if you had no opportunity to see them before. Are from a few seasons ago, thanks to Orentius. We used to live on berries and meat, selling peat and timber, but soon we'll need no outsiders. After all these years of feeding our blood to Saurians, leeches, and merchants, better days are coming. We made them come, and we deserve them. He fondly wipes his blade with his thumb, then clears his throat. If the white allows. So you want to separate yourself from the other settlements? The tribes with little iron and bones struggle more and more. We're getting ready to welcome plunderers the way they deserve, 'tis all. Our palisade wasn't enough. All this, he waves at the wall and his voice is full of pride, was built not even 2 years. Can you believe? You glance at a yellowish skeleton that carries 2 large rocks, each too large for any human to lift on their own. You used to sell wood, correct? He nods in approval. In the old days, our firewood warmed up all walls and toes on this side of Hag Hills, but Gale Rocks in the far north built its own hamlet for woodcutters, and Haller's Dell grew a fine garden for themselves just to get by without us. They have oaks, cherries, and their own darker birches, have no more reason to trade with us other than peat. You glance at the buildings. While they are indeed new, most settlements in the province would view them as crude and cramped. Is Asterion around? Huh? Why would he be? You paid attention to his confident stance and strong voice with his usual hint of disdain, and spot no sign of a lie. He's hardly ever been here. I've no need of wardens. You meet his eyes. Maybe you don't, but could there be someone else? Helvius begins swinging his axe left and right, the heels of the half now resting in the mud. Trying to recall the past, he makes a puzzled frown. Know what? I was told he met with our warlock often. Who knows why? Ask him if you must. I already did. Kinda doesn't answer anything. I seek a few missing hunters from creeks. Are they here, maybe? His voice remains the same, but he squeezes the long haft of his axe. Dahlia, right? Was here, many days ago, with questions on howlers and cats. Some dumb bet, she told me, was heading back north. Hey, thanks for the follow. Let's see. I don't think he's gonna care about Old Pagos, but the people of Old Pagos are fighting a plague. Fuck. He looks at the dark clouds and sighs. Who? Kids? Elders? While you speak, the nearby villagers stop their work, and even the undead are told to freeze in place, offering your ears a bit of relief. You answer a lot of questions, making the muddy square even more grim. You hear someone weeping, and a young woman announcing, "'Tis not fair, even for them." The mayor nods in agreement, keeping the axe on his shoulders. I'll tell Laurentius. From now on, we'll gather our wood chips and twigs in his shed. He raises his voice, looking into his tribe's eyes. We may have enough for them before winter. Okay, so maybe he does care. I didn't think he would. I'd like to speak with Laurentius. As he straightens up, the moose head on his chest bounces enthusiastically. You and many others, but he's swamped by his work, and we've enough threats in the shadows already. If he decides you're trustworthy, he may speak with you once, but why would I even ask him? I need his guidance. Then seek fortune tellers and scholars, he scoffs. We have our own struggles to solve before we start leading others. Okay, so see, he doesn't trust me enough for that. He's probably not going to trust me enough for Eudosha, but we'll try. Eudosha, the enchantress, would like to place this rod in your village, somewhere high. Would that be a problem? She what? Let me see. He swings the hollow piece of bronze like a sword made from a branch, then raises it above his head, staring at it with little patience. A lightning catcher, or a toy. Well, he gives it back. Come one day before noon. You'll go out with the foragers as a guard. Work with them for half a day, and we'll put it in a tree, or on a roof mayhaps. I sigh. Very well, I'll do the work. Oh, good. I'm dirty again. Everything else is fine. After half an hour or so, the expedition is ready. 6 souls, none of them older than 40, and with no undead to assist them. Too dumb, the oldest woman explains, and we've no overseer with us. Their accents are heavy, but they rarely address you. For most of the time, they exchange single-word commands, gesturing for you to quiet down whenever you step on a branch. You spend half a day following the bog paths, but also going deeper into the wilderness. As a group, you manage to scare away the smaller beasts, and your guide claims to lead you around the hunting territories of the larger predators. From time to time, you keep to what looks to you like the most inconvenient trails in sight, yet no one objects. You cross the muds, shallow waters, and ancient dark game trails, tracking any movement among leaves and grasses. Hungry and annoyed by the insects, you go back to White Marshes, carrying baskets and sacks full of mushrooms, berries, herbs, and great leaves, but also a few birds and furry critters. As we head to the village, I follow the guide patiently. Helvius waits for you at the gate, nodding with approval. 2 steps away from him, you see a short corpse, bare-boned above its waist, but still wearing pants and carrying scraps of meat on its feet. Not giving you a moment for breath, the mayor tells you to fetch him a rod. After you do so, he throws it at the undead, bouncing the rod off his head with a thud, and starts to laugh. "Go on now," he commands it. "Put it on the tree there, and tie it with a rope." His worker bows down to pick up the tools and obediently walks away. Ooh. I don't actually know what the outcome of this is going to be. Because this is kind of the deal, so... I grab his shoulder. We had a deal. He gives you a puzzled look and tries to wrench himself away, but your strong grasp doesn't make it easy. "There are no trees inside, you dumb toad." He stops suddenly and, after a long pause, calls for the undead to come back. "I'll find a tall building." You let him go and walk back to your bundles, where you quench your thirst. Okay. So that's what it was. There was no trees inside the village. I don't know if I want to stay here, but I don't really have that much choice. Let's see. It's not too bad. 2 hours and 15 minutes to get to Foggy Lake. 3 for creeks. 315 for Hallisdell. I think I'm running out of coin though. Yeah, I have just enough. I don't even have enough to stay at Hallisdell without not giving Haas the horse a good place to sleep. So let's see. I asked the guards if there's a room I can rent for the night. "I guess," one of them sighs and tells you to wait where you're standing. After a few minutes, a group of locals approaches a more neglected turf house and starts to empty it. They take out old crates, rags, casks, bricks, then leave them by the outer wall, at least for now. "It's an old shed," explains the guard. "There, you won't bother anyone. We'll be ready before you need it." Which she told me actually would cost, but... I approach the well. The locals observe your hands carefully while you're drawing the water. After you quench your thirst, you try to wash your face and neck, but one of the older women approaches you quickly, wagging her finger. "We have not enough for this silliness," she rebukes you. "Water your horse if you have to, but we need the rest for ourselves." The stern gaze of the other villagers leaves you no room for discussion. I observe the undead workers. Not being allowed to leave the main square, you observe the shells walking through the gate or helping the builders at the wall. The skeletons are not at all complete, some of them lack a rib, a foot, or a jaw. Many of their bones are cracked or broken and seem to be connected to each other with nothing at all, as if the pneuma that keeps them moving knows which parts should stay firm and which ones should twist or bend. Those that keep some of their skin and guts don't smell, rot, or bleed, and make you think of dried meat. It's as if these scraps of flesh serve no purpose, and seeing how many of these laborers already have great holes in their stomachs, or limbs with revealed bones, it could be that they are just in the middle of the process of becoming like their naked counterparts. The undead loyally fulfill their tasks. So far, you've counted 5 people able to give them orders. Some do so by speaking out loud, while one woman simply looks at a shell no matter how far it is. The workers, while witless, maintain some sort of carefulness in their actions. They stop when someone gets in their way, and use tools, if they know how, avoiding pointless harm to their shells. There may be more than 50 creatures spread across and around the village, but you can't know how many of them you haven't seen yet. Many of the fresher undead are elders. Among the skeletons, you spot some that used to belong to children, but none to infants. Maybe such young shells are too difficult to sight even for the locals. You notice that all the flies land either on the locals or on your palfrey. They avoid the awoken shells, without exception. Interesting. I guess if they're not rotting, there's not going to be anything to like coax them over. I go to Helvius. Shall we trade? We need what we have, but I'll take a look at what you're bringing if you seek bones. He glances as an undead. I nod toward my bundles. Go ahead. He points his blade at the only thing that interests him. No. That's all? Alright, well. I can't really do anything else here. Yeah, we got time to not be here. It's gonna be a long time to go to Old Pagos. Let's go to the statue of a woman. No, let's just go straight to the foraging grounds. I need to see if they're cursed. As you ride past the fields, one of the local farmers enters the road, gesturing for you to stop. He's holding a rusty sickle and carries a basket on his back, filled with various weeds and a sharped club. His patched, worn tunic is neglected, but fitting for a farmer. The lean years left his face skinny and his teeth crooked, but his sad eyes hold heartwarming kindness. Hi there, Warden. He has a thick local accent. I've been wondering just now. There's a small matter, you see. Do you know how to read? What? I guess I'm not a scholar. That's would have been the point to be a scholar class. I don't, I'm afraid. I see. He gives you a sad smile. But still, you've a horse, I mean. He raises his eyes as if to make it clear he's aware that you're sitting in a saddle. It is. You ride places. Give me a few moments. Without waiting for your response, he runs to the village and returns to you with a small sack in his hands. How about you take it to someone smart? He unwraps the package and reveals a large wax tablet made of bone. It's a letter from someone I care about, but I'm not sure what it says. I'll give you a coin once you read it for me. You take the tablet from his open palm. It's fancy, unlike the wooden ones. On its back you find an engraving portraying a large furry beast. Made off a troll hip, the farmer says proudly. That's a pretty tablet. He puts his hands on his sides, his smile is filled with pride. Did it myself. With cold nights and little iron, takes thinking to keep your hands busy. Why do you need my help? He frowns as if the answer is obvious. No merchants come here these days, and no missionaries. And we don't need to read around here. But you do have a priest in the village. He looks at the gate as if he just realized you're right. I asked him. His tone is cold. But he was no help. Said the letters are blurry. They look fine to me. Fine. I'll see you soon. He waves to you and steps away, clearing the path. I'll wait for you with the coin I promised. Actually, did that take any time? No, okay. Let's go to the foraging grounds, see if we can tell if this place is cursed. Hey, Water Seer! Some little furry critters flee away from you as you... Some little furry critters flee away from you through the short grass. Nothing here is as loud as your palfrey's hooves. The runner is still in sight, looking for prey. I shouldn't fight this bird by myself. But maybe I can... I don't want to do that. I thought this was the cursed area. Maybe not. Man, I feel like I just end up spending so much time just walking to the wrong places. I don't want it to just go away forever, because I need to, like, catch it. So let's see what happens. Yeah, see, I need a spear or something. Better not to risk it. It's an hour. Yeah, I thought this was the cursed area. Oh well. Let's go back to the statue, I guess. The willow's twigs are swinging gently, sending the leaves towards the lake. The road is covered with a rustling blanket. The statue stands in all its glory, observing the road and those who use it. The coin you left in the wooden bowl is no longer here. Of course it's not. I consider washing myself in the stream. The brook would hardly cover your feet, but you could sit on the pebbles and splash yourself with water. I wash my shell. As you wash your sweaty skin, Hosh quenches its thirst and looks for intruders. Alright, now let's go back. What time is it? We're early, but I can't really explore much else. Let's go to Foggy's place. They still need a couple days, I think. But we'll go ahead and enter the tavern. I bring news from old Pagos, and they're not good. Listening to your tale, she rubs her forehead. Well, not what I was hoping to hear, love, but I'm glad you went there. Better warn the other settlements. Folks should know before they send their own messengers. It's going to be a rough few seasons for all of us. She pulls out a dragon bone from her pocket and tosses it in your direction. Here, good job. She steps toward the ajar door and looks at the lake. Want me to do anything else? See, she scratches the stump of her missing arm. Her powerful voice carries a hint of a threat. I need a soul who can handle a delicate task, and I'm not sure it's you, dear. Okay, any interesting rumors? She nods. I know this and that. Which place? Actually, I want to know about an abandoned place. Oh, okay, well. I don't think she's going to have much to give me about White Marshes. Yeah, never mind. We are just going to go ahead and sleep. And then we can eat in the morning. We'll just give that dragon bone right back to her. Hardly any light reaches the ground through the clouded sky. The deep night, as some people call it. So dark that you can't see the fingertips of your extended hand. You try to look outside, but to no avail. Even the predators will spend the next few hours hidden, unsure what surrounds their shelters and hideouts. Not all of them, though. You hear cheerful howling coming from the heart of the forest. A hunt queen, or maybe a hunt lord, has already captured its next meal. I can't stay and watch the entire night, but before my second sleep, I sit still with a single candle, looking for anything that might try to get inside. Right, it's the same thing every morning when I wake up here. Let's see. I'd like to eat something. She stretches out her arm and grabs a bowl. Give me a moment. You sit down at the clean table. After a moment, the keeper brings you boar offals, a couple of carrots, and a refreshingly cold cup of water. Once you're done, Foggy packs leftovers for you as a snack for the rest of the day and mentions that you've already paid for another 2 meals. Alright, time for me to go. Okay, so I got 1 more day for the hunt. So Caius, your boss told me you have some sort of visions. He meets your eyes and straightens up, reaching out to you with his dirty hand. I allow him. It rests on your shoulders, light like a bird. Your nose tells you that he hasn't washed in quite a few days. It's okay, bud. Neither have I. The right hears the prayers of the people. I mean, of the 10 cities, all the tribes, and the empress, and priests, merchants, farmers. We thought things were lost, the glory behind us, punished by humiliation for our weak hearts. He starts to shake his stump a foot away from your face, but there's hope. His voice gets stronger with every heartbeat, and a wide smile shows up under his beard. The right's test is behind us, and we, the sinners, have failed it. Now are the days of atonement, and of the new cities, with new tribes in the cleansed land. We, you know, have to fix ourselves, change what we can, weed out our sins, and bring fresh hearts to the holiest soul carrier, and let them guide us anew, with new tablets and prayers, and a new church, the only church, yes. He steps in place, bursting with excitement. All the rivers will flow as one wave, and the new cities, the reborn city, will wipe out the barbarians. He spits on the ground and send them back into their chains. He points his hand south. We will come through the ashes, reborn into a power greater than any fortress, than 1,000 dragons, than all the ships and armies. He steps back, lowering his head. I, the humble servant, was granted this vision. I nod enthusiastically. That's great news. Lie. I nod enthusiastically. That's great news. Nod. I see. Or you're insane. I mean, I'm not going to be... I don't want to lie to him. Yeah, maybe I will, actually. I nod enthusiastically. That's great news. He turns away from you and approaches the wall. Take this word and carry it in your heart and on your lips. Be a part of the wave that swallows the faithless. Svi presses a clenched fist to his lips, stopping himself from laughter, while Elon looks at the prophet with concern. Don't encourage him, friend. It's not right. Okay, well, we gotta wait for them to be ready for that bird. And we can't get back to White Marshes because of the creepers in the way. We're in good enough shape. I don't want to go too far. We're going to see if we can deal with this hamlet that had the little like fox creatures in it. Soon after your arrival, the largest of the dusk foxes jumps on the building's wall, growling. It stretches out its shell, ready to jump at you at any moment. Any moment now. You hear the whine of another pack member, followed by the rest of the creatures, the youngest of which seem more scared than threatening. I let the foxes see me and then wear them down with shouts. You burst into the hamlet, yelling, running, swinging your axe, hitting the rocks loudly with the side of the blade. The confused dusk foxes observe you from afar, jumping from one corner to another, showing their teeth. After half a minute or so, they regain their senses, trying to surround you. Oh, what? Why can't I... Yeah. I don't want to just, like... I don't want that outcome. I want to try and fight them. Alright, I need to get rid of these creatures. My axe is enough. With the axe in hand, you enter the hamlet. The dusk foxes react right away, seeking new positions as they try to keep you in the front yard. The lumbering beast is running to your right, clinging to the wall, hoping to repeat its attack from behind. The golden one jumps on the tree stump, growling at you as it lowers its head. The last one, which seems to be the bravest, remains in constant movement, pretending to attack you, then moving back, but you notice that one of its paws is already limping. The pups stay far behind, relying on their protectors. I need to rely on my gambeson, focus on protecting my legs and hands. With a few lucky hits, I can scare them off. The brave fox is quick and nimble. You try to keep it at a distance, aware that another fox is approaching you from the back slowly. But then you get hit by the golden critter, which is clinging to your armored shoulder with its claws and reaching for your neck. Your fine armor stops the pain completely, and as you raise your arm, the fox's jaw is almost at the edge of its teeth. But you're conscious enough to grab it and throw it away, making it hit the wall with an unpleasant thud. You maintain your cold blood and swing your weapon at the fox that wants to bite your leg. It tries to dodge, but not quickly enough. You land a hit, and the whining beast moves away, leaving a trail of blood behind it. The pain scares away the two stronger foxes, and the third one is unwilling to attack you without assistance. You raise your blade, and they wait no longer. The stronger two run for their pups, grab them by their necks, and keep their distance, carrying them to the hole in the wall near the bare tree. They get through it with confident jumps. Before the lumbering one disappears into the wilderness, it gives the pack's shelter one last glance. I get back to Haas. Haas is trying to nap, but gets interrupted by a bird that tries to rest on top of the saddle. Well, that went way better than I thought. It didn't even damage my armor. I enter the ruined building. It's a simple chamber with no furniture that would explain its purpose. The fireplace is buried beneath the roof. You inspect the walls, made of hundreds of small rocks, dressed with a chisel. The trash is heavy from the moisture. You push it with your boot, which starts a commotion among the gray, disoriented bugs. Removing the rubble would take some effort, but for now it doesn't look like there's anything of value left behind. With enough wood, a group of builders could restore this hamlet in just a few days. I'll hang around for a bit and clean up the mess. The task involves a lot of dirt, and you disturb whole armies of ants, worms, and bugs of all shapes and colors, which are feasting on wood, thatch, mushrooms, animal droppings, and one another. You repair your gloves and some water. You throw smaller pieces of the roof over the wall and pull the larger ones through the main entrance. After an hour or so, you saw all there is to be found. The wood is beyond usage, but there are also no unpleasant surprises covered with dirt. If necessary, it would be easy to work with the remains. There were some scraps of bones, clothes, and leather among the rubble, as well as a broken club, but the only thing of value you found are the 2 dragon bones dropped by someone under the wall. I washed the coins and put them in my pouch. Haas is observing the short grass, judging if grazing on it is worth the effort. I want to look around. Hole in the wall, honestly. There's a lot of timber outside the building. They were destroyed by the time, with no effort put into sustaining them with tar or oil. Now, soggy and slowly consumed by the worms and fungi. They are beyond restoration. Okay, The outer wall looks generations old, but it used to be maintained. Some of its materials came from different times and areas. Having no parapet walk or a tower, it was meant to interfere with the roaming path of wild creatures. It offers no real value in combat. Alright, well. Yeah, we're pretty much done here. See, what time is it? We got almost 12 hours. I mean, we're in good shape. A little hungry, but we're in good shape. Let's... We don't have a lantern yet. We have the watchtower cleaned up. We still need to deal with the tree. Now that we helped that guy out of the ruins, let's see if we can do something with it, actually. I haven't been down here in a while. village remains dead. Let's see if the fish trap had any luck. It's been a couple days, so yeah. Sadly, you're too late. Your catch is already starved to death and is now eaten by dozens of little creatures. You open the lid and pour out the contents into the river. I step away. I take the fish trap back. Shake the basket, expecting it will get drier during your ride, then attach it to your saddle. I explore the northeast part of the village. The debris was partially moved outside of the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance to the latrine, most of which lead to and from the center of the village. You notice a set of simple tools leaned against a pile of rubble. A wooden spade and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bone head, a stone axe. All of them are too old and too awkward to bother with transporting them around, but you'll know where to find them if you need them in the future. Good to know. Southeast part of the village. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. It would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings left by children who were portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corners of the houses. The furniture is broken, but you find something of use in one of the piles, a slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a quarrel for a crossbow, still useful. I don't know why I always get sick in this place. I want to look around the northern gate. The paths here have almost been reclaimed by the grasses. To your east and west, you see shadowy alleys behind damaged buildings. I look into the well. It's filled up with soil, and you find nothing interesting about the area around it. I approach the nearby tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces have maggots crawling under their skins. You wonder which part of this meal is more tempting than for the dark-winged birds sitting among the branches. The flesh of the fruits or of the worms. Quinces? Quinces? I'm not sure. Quinces are rarely eaten without having a chance to blet. You can safely guess that they were meant to be dried or to add taste to cookies or hard drinks. After a few moments, you realize that the bottom part of the tree, just above the ground, is partially charred. Someone must have opposed a torch here, but the wet wood didn't burst into flames. I want to open the gate. It may take quite a bit of time, but with the wooden and bone tools you found in one of the buildings, you'll speed up your endeavor. I collect the tools and get to work. Dirty again. You take off your cloak and put away your bags and satchels, while Haas grazes gladly in the meadow. After looking at the pile of dirt, you let out a sigh. You start with the larger rocks, removing the ground around them and pushing them into a single pile. Then you do the same on the other side. The simple shovel and pitchfork help you a lot, and once you get used to them, the work goes smoothly. You're done before you get too tired. From now on, passing through this place will take you less time. Cool. The closer you are to the village and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth. Your forehead hurts. You start to stumble. Haas, worried by the sight, pokes your head with his nose. Yeah, see, I don't know. I gotta figure out why I'm getting sick here. I walk far away from the walls. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. Yeah, and maybe better leave or at least stay away from the village for the rest of the day. Alright. What time is it? 6 hours. Well, I haven't been to Tulia's camp in a while. Let's go talk to them. Tulia welcomes you with a smile. Is everything all right? The soldiers are walking in and out of the camp, carrying large logs to prepare a supply for another pyre. I have more questions. Guess what? I met with Caius. You mentioned the tavern in Foggy's care. Tulia sighs with relief and rests her hands on her sides. Alive. That's good to hear. Deserter or not. How's he doing? He's a man of faith now. Kind of. You vaguely describe what you've heard, making her scratch her shaved head. That's news to me. I used to know him before he joined the army. Never seemed especially bothered with Wright's teachings. One time I saw him with that. She freezes, then lets out a chuckle. Forget it. I'm glad he's alright. Did you ever enter the road leading through the heart of the woods? Oh, we were advised not to. Have you seen this huge gate in the west, made of rocks, very tall? We met a guard there named Quentin, maybe? A kind soul, but a bit slow. He almost begged us not to enter the woods, so we took the longer route. That's where all the settlements are, anyway. Her companion chips in. We didn't miss much. I see. Were any hunters from the north passing by your camp recently? Not from the north, not from the south. She lets out a weak chuckle. I didn't expect this place to be that desolate at this time of year. You're the only soul we've seen in days, unless you count beast folk. Unless they're from creeks, I don't. She smiles. Well, I didn't ask them, so there's always a chance. Do you have any idea about what happened to the ruined village in the west? Nah, there were goblins around the walls, so we never went there. But I was told that the wrath of the herds crushed it. Maybe 10 years ago? Her companion agrees with a nod. If there were any survivors, they are surely gone by now. Maybe they moved to other settlements or left the peninsula. Or they got caught by bandits. Have you ever encountered the bandits from the north? She lets out a sad sigh. So there are other bandits in the Northwoods, after all. Her companion hits his forehead with his palm. This peninsula really hates us. We can't make a dent in its shell. Julia puts a hand on his shoulder, then looks back at you. Thanks for telling us, Roadwarden. If I survive long enough to report to someone, I'll be sure to mention it. Maybe I should learn more about them first. Sure. Good luck with that. The man with the bird chuckles. Thanks. I approach the barrel with water. The barrel was recently refilled by the soldiers. You fish out the few drifting insects. The oak ash soap you own is not enough to help you get cleaner. Well, I wash my hands, face, and neck. It's a little bit anyway. I approach Julia. How can I help you? Thanks. Okay, I guess that's it. How much coin do we have now? 4? I'm going through way too much. Got 4 hours, 15 minutes. We can go talk to Yudosha and then make it back to the watchtower, I think. We'll be okay. Only one fly is feasting on the rotting carcass of a snake that's on the side of the road. You touch the cold shell. The monster's eyes glow red. Go inside. I'll be with you soon. The stone creature lets you in. I enter the yard. Excuse me. Sorry, I get allergies. Yudosha closes the door behind her. You're back. Surely you filled some arrows with Nuba before. Any ideas where this is from? I show her the one I found near the fallen tree. Why? Are you tracing a murderer? She smirks, but then grabs the arrow and takes a quick look. Black and orange. I don't know much about wood, but I recognize these feathers. The people of Gale Rocks breed such pheasants. She gives it back. It's in the far north, close to the coast. Why did you ask me to place a rod in White Marshes specifically? Is it because of the undead? No, why? She scratches the ground with her foot and points at her golem. I still need to do a bit of work with the sentinels, but I hope to offer one to them, maybe in the spring. It could replace 10, 20 humans. The villagers may not have much food right now, but I know how to be patient. They have quite a bit of awoken corpses, you know. She moves her hair behind her shoulder. All I can do is hope they know when to stop. I bring news from the west. Old Pagos is facing a grave plague. She stands still. Come again? When you describe the symptoms, she starts to fidget and finally interrupts you. Cut it. Have you heard aught about Eulalia and Irenaeus? They're about 50, 55, a mason and a sculptor. Her eyes are getting bad. He has a limp. I never entered the gate. She rubs her arms above her elbows as if to warm herself up. If you ever ride there again, she meets your eyes. Ask around, please. I need to know. have some questions about your golems. Oh, I need 4 rods placed. Okay. She walks around the closest sentinel and observes it like a farmer would a donkey before a purchase. Isn't it clear what they are? Furniture that walks and works. They carry rocks and logs. Hunt, kind of. And protect this place while I rest. What else is there to say? It's so loud when it walks. Don't monsters react to its presence? She lets out a chuckle. They flee from them as they would from trolls. They can't stalk their prey or jump on them from a bush. But when they don't move for long, beasts take them for rocks. It's not like they need to breathe. It just sits still, waits for a roe deer to get close. The golem's eyes suddenly get brighter. It jumps forward and punches the air. It lands with the sound of thunder. That's why I need them to be so large, the enchantress explains. I can't give them muscles. The speed I give them is pure pneuma. Being firm and heavy helps. She disregards your mention of the wrath of the herds. True, I make more mess than most humans would, but that's one of the reasons why I stay away from the villages. Being all alone, I give the beast time to get used to my walls, and my sentinels know to stay away from unicorns and pebblers. Alright, the roads around the watchtower are in terrible shape. Why don't your golems look after them? Why would I bother? You expect her to continue, but her question is earnest. The paths are getting overgrown. Soon, getting to the other villages will be close to impossible. She twirls her hair, looking in the direction of the tower. It may be for the better. She starts listlessly, then shakes her head gently. You may be right. I hope the trail would take care of itself, with traders and all, but the years are getting emptier. Still, I need my workers to seek food and to guard my walls. She speaks mostly to herself. I could bring you some rations in return. She observes your boots and then crosses her arms. The more bronze rods there are spread across the peninsula, the easier it is for me to send the golems into the woods. For now, let's say 20 rations. I guess gentler roads will get me more food anyway, so I don't need you to bring me any barrels. I'll think about it. Yeah, shouldn't have anything for me. Alright. Back to the watchtower. Can't go anywhere else. The watchtower is blending with the wilderness slowly. A spider the size of a human head crawls up the wall. When it senses your presence, it runs to the top and disappears on the other side. I enter the tower. Oh no. Oh, I guess I can sleep, but following the clue from old Pagos, I look for anything that Asterion could have left behind. You start to move around all sorts of furniture, light and heavy. Among various pieces of garbage that you have to push aside, you find something unusual in the space between one of the pallets and the wall, an old, molding wax tablet. There are some writings inside it. Other than that, the place seems to be empty, unless you count broken pottery and ragged clothes. For now, I hide it in my bag and put everything back in its place. Time to wash my hands. Alright, well, so sleep. Sleeping on a buggy pallet. The pallet is buggy and far from fresh, but with your cape it's going to be soft. Thick walls protect you from the wind and monsters, but you have to barricade the entrance with a piece of furniture. Sleep. The scratching from the lower floor wakes you up. You get out of the blanket and look down the ladder. The main door shakes. Just in case you open a window and glance outside. A pale, muscular fright ape tries to open the entrance with its masked hands, but to no avail. After it hears the screeching of a shutter, it looks at you with its dead black eyes, then grabs one of the bricks and bounces up, shortening the distance quickly. You lock the window with every bolt and bar it has, just in time to keep the shouting monster away. The ape punches the planks fiercely, then climbs even higher, looking for another entrance, but is incapable of recognizing the trapdoor, and after another few minutes, you think it gave up. Just to be sure, I inspect every window and the main entrance. You open your eyes, and there's this unpleasant tingling on your cheek. You reach for what turns out to be a small bug. You throw it away and look around, only to see dozens of tiny creatures swarming on the floor and the bed, as well as your blanket, clothes, and bags. You push some of them away, gather your things with thoughts so clouded by dreams. You gather your things and look through the bags, removing as many insects, worms, and spiders from them as you can find. Haas is observing you patiently, unmoved by the commotion. You push away all the furniture that you used to barricade the door, walk your palfrey outside, and allow it to graze on the grass for half an hour. In the meantime, you equip it with your writing set and use the sunlight to double check your belongings. The thought that no matter how scrupulous you are, you may keep finding new creatures in your food doesn't leave you alone. Picking fruits and vegetables should be easy on an open hill. I spent half an hour foraging. Haas grazes at the fence while you cross the short meadows, seeking edible leaves of fennels, sorrel, and lettuce that hide in the shades of the spruce trees, forcing you to get on your knees and push the branches away. After some time, with needles in your hood and sleeves, you carry the vegetables to the gate, washing them with your water skin and spreading them on a blanket, allowing them to dry up. As you pick the very few remaining pears and berries, you notice a wide tree hollow. You take a look inside and find a stash of acorns and chestnuts, but also hazelnuts and walnuts. Squirrels will need them more. I take the fruits back to my bundles. Alright, we need to eat something. So the food, the rations themselves can be, some people want rations. So let's eat the wild plants for now. Okay. 2 nourishment should be fine. Let's... How long is it going to take to get to Foggy Lake? Let's go head up to Foggy Lake. I wish I had a spear, but... There's a hint of a strange stench and fresh claw marks left on the ground. A large saurian entered and left the yard through the lake. The foragers are inspecting the boat, talking about their recent fishing trip. The taller man welcomes you with a nod. I approach the foragers. Svi is trying to remove a green mark from his jacket with his own spit. Well, I don't really have everything I need, but let's get it done, I guess. Let's hunt while it's still early. Elon clasps his hands. Then we're going. Idiot, take care of the horse. He nods toward the man with one hand. Elon puts proudly a rope and a bag on his shoulders, while Svi shoves everything under his black cloak. They gather by the gate and mock their companion as he toddles toward the lake with an empty bucket. I grab whatever may be of use from my bags and scratch Haas's neck. Loud toads are sitting on the banks. Some of them observe you with large round eyes, ready to hide in the water. The statue stands in all its glory, observing the road and those who use it. The coin you left in the wind bowl is no longer there. A nice thing, isn't it? Elon thunders behind you. It's older than our home. What you say, Chips and Svi? Do you have such things by Obloven on the roads? Carrying your belongings on your own is surprisingly tiring, and you make noises with every turn. Not really. The statues of humans are seen as a sign of pride. And why not be proud when you've done something great? Elon shrugs. The statues may be a dumb way to do so, but heroes deserve to be remembered. Pride blinds people, makes them commit stupid mistakes. It's a good thing that priests teach others to avoid it. Svi smirks. You say it as if the preachers are not some of the most prideful people of all. The absent eyes of the statue have nothing to add. It was me who got rid of the bushes, you know. Svi narrows his eyes but speaks with a cheerful tone. Ah, and I thought a beast ate the leaves, but there are no paw prints around, I don't think anyone on the coast is going to kneel before it, adds the larger man, though I guess it does look nicer now. So do you know who this is? Nah, Elon is more focused on the fish breaking through the surface of the lake. It's old, and the woman is a stranger. I heard no stories of it. My ma could. We should move on. Aye, let's not linger, says Elon as he walks down the road. We move forward. The valley seems especially peaceful today. A couple of lizards are resting on the rocks, basking with no worries. Elon points east to the large bird at the edge of the horizon, which freezes in the middle of a step and turns its orange head in your direction. See? Time to get ready. What's the plan? Well, avoid the beak and the legs and the trample. He pauses, inspecting the loop at the end of his rope. And don't hurt it if you don't have to. We don't want it to be a bother. Zvi jauntily drops his belongings in the middle of the road and jumps in place, rhythmically breathing. After he takes off his black cloak, he reveals a set of fancy clothes made of black leather, clothes of a sneaky adventurer. It charges like a moron. Be nimble, that's all. 1 or 2 ropes on the neck and we're halfway home. But don't let it pass you by, aye? Should I also take a rope? I can throw it at the bird and pull once it gets behind me. I don't know, friend, says Elon. Roping isn't easy. Don't be too reckless. We don't have magic on our hands. And we can't buy another Roadwarden, adds his companion, so don't make this a bad trade for us. I wait for them to get to the sides of the valley, then approach the bird. It's taller than Haas, with wide breast and long, thick, partially feathered legs that can easily trample your chest. Its thighs are thick and powerful. The pointy beak can swallow your entire forearm. Your steps are getting slower. I need to calm myself down. I focus on my breath. You put your right hand on your chest, noticing it's rising and falling as the air moves through your nose. You can't take your eyes away from the creature's overwhelming posture, but as your breath remains deep and slow, you don't feel afraid, just ready to defend yourself. Soon, the bird is surrounded by your group, and the pond behind it blocks its path of escape. Once it realizes that, it speeds up, charging your direction. I take a good look at the monster. It's tall, wide, with a massive head. Its feathers are torn by the wind. They are vividly brown, white, and creamy, longer than your hand span, coating the creature like a cape. Its steps are heavy and deliberate. The neck, as long as the limb, keeps moving around, sometimes staring at you with but a single black pupil surrounded by deep orange. The light gray beak resembles the leaves of the local plants. The tip is curved, pointy, and in no way smooth. It carries dozens of grooves, maybe a sign of an old age, or maybe a trace of hundreds of hunts. I try to find its weak spot. It's just a huge duck. It waits no more. It raises its head and makes a long, piercing screech which fills up the entire valley. The feathers on its neck are shaking, but also waving, moved by the muscles. It then flaps its wings and lunges forward, still shouting, charging at you with full force. I keep my distance and dodge when necessary. The giant feet are pounding the ground, with every leap scuffing up clouds of leaves and sand. It lowers its long neck, pointing it at you like one would a spear. You do your best to find a balance between running to safety, jumping away from the beak, and staying close to hold the bird's attention. Its reflexes are so quick that you can't imagine doing all this while also trying to strike it back. Yet the creature doesn't find a way to land a hit, and observes you with respect. It turns around but stops in place when it sees your companions. It looks at you again, preparing for the next charge. This sounds like not a good idea, but we're gonna try. I hold my ground, make a quick dodge, then grapple the bird. You wait to duck at the very last moment. In the blink of an eye, you show up at the beast's side, pressing your shell to its large chest, too large for you to wrap your arms around it. You try to avoid the massive legs, but the monster turns out to be as confused as you are, making an angry screech and trying to shake you off. The feathers are scratching your cheeks and getting in your mouth. Once the bird gets rid of you, it runs east, not aware that it only helps your companions. I should try to rope it. The creature pays attention to your movements, and once the rope flies toward it, it steps away, then moves into a charge. Preparing the rope for the next attempt will take some time, but will also put you in a vulnerable position. I keep my distance and dodge when necessary. These are all rolls. I wish I could see what the rolls actually are. You do your best to find a balance between running to safety, jumping away from the... Yeah, okay. Finally, you're lucky. The creature doesn't find a way to land a hit and observes you with respect. It turns around but stops in place. Okay, we already read that. That's when the loop lands on its neck. Tightening quickly, and Svi shouts cheerfully. The bird remains silent, maybe already out of breath. But then it dashes forward, so fast you can't help but step back. It either doesn't understand the danger involved in moving in its situation or doesn't care about it. It runs forward trying to flee. It makes 5 jumps. You hear Elon swear. Without looking at him, you know that he let go of the rope. Let's see. I wish I knew which one of these actually were the force options, because that's like something specific to being the fighter. I think it's these. Well, that just sounds like a bad idea. I need to stop the bird before it gets away. That's... Yeah, it's the same. Well, I stand in its way, and once it gets close, I try to catch it. Well, I didn't take any damage, so... You try to get in the bird's way without putting yourself at risk, but it manages to get away from you. Your hands manage to grasp a few feathers, but the creature pushes you away with such a strength you land on your back. Your prey leaves you behind, triumphantly screeching. You look at it in panic, afraid that it may get to Haas before you realize you left it at Foggy's place. Aw, man. Alright, well, let's load that back. Let's just grab the rope. You dash forward, barely reaching the pulled rope, then start to roll it with both hands. You plant your feet on a convenient rock, then pull, felling the bird on its side, but its strength and weight knocks you down as well. It tries to get up, but you keep pulling, fighting against its muscular neck and legs. Elon comes to the rescue. It's now 2 against 1, and the beast can't make as much as a step. After its V ropes it with yet another loop, the battle's over. The bird staggers, trying to keep its head straight, until, exhausted, falls on the ground. Time to regroup. The bird keeps trying to find a way out, but with little luck. Once it regains a bit of strength, it charges at you, but after just 2 leaps, it gets stopped by the second rope. It regains its voice, screeching at its tormentors, but there's something more hidden behind its previous threats and anger. Maybe pain, maybe contempt. A damn good job, thunders Elon. He starts to laugh. You were jumping around like a monkey. You have some legs. Shag me. I missed my throw with the rope, adds Svi loudly, gasping for breath after a long run, though he keeps smiling with pride. At least the second try worked out. The bird is damn ours, and that's all that matters, aye? I nodded our prey. We should go. If anything tries to get to us, we'll struggle to keep the bird on the rope. Aye, can't argue with that. Elon stretches his large legs and prepares his bags. We're not much of fighters. I don't wish to pay you for saving us on the road. The other forager chuckles as he stays away, keeping the exhausted bird on the top rope. We're ready if you are. I gather my belongings and lead the men north, looking out for any beasts. Every few minutes, the runner tries to get away, and even though it's exhausted, you have to move slowly, paying attention to its steps. The foragers seem to know what they're doing, and at no point you feel threatened by the creature. You keep looking around, but the other beasts seem to stay away. At one point, you notice a blue wolf among the shorter grasses, but it only observes you in silence, standing on all paws as if it's ready to run away. Your anxious companions fall quiet, but you keep moving forward. In the middle of your journey, you think about Haas. During your stroll, everything seems taller, and the creatures you pass by feel more real, as if they are no longer just shadows for you to leave behind. Being on the road without it feels lonely. Foggy observes you from the top of the stairs, with a hand resting on her stomach. Well done, dears. She grins at the sight of the runner. Tether it close to the water, love. She looks at you. Be nice and head to Creeks today or tomorrow, will you? Tell Ephron we're coming, and to give you a bone for the message. She glances at the man with one hand as he scowls at the beast. Before she enters the door, she smiles at her son. Once you're done, wash your hands and come for dinner. Tell me everything. Tethering the creature to a beam takes you a few minutes. Elon's gasping for air, leaning on his knees, and while his feet keeps his posture straight, his red face betrays him. Well, says the tall man, I have your dragons here. Thanks for your work, friend. The ring-shaped bones are covered in his sweat. Haas is drinking from the lake. Alright. We can go to Creeks. Elon and Ephron are on the bridge discussing something as they look at the flowing clear stream. They welcome you politely and ask you about your day. I have some good news for you. I helped the boys from Foggy's catch a large bird that will soon be brought here. While you try to stay to the point, Ephron is full of energy. He asks about every detail, from the animal's size to the way it acted in combat. Your brief answers are met with shouts, echoed by the silent bounces of the wolf's head. It was a brave venture. I'm glad they didn't try it without you. Eli gestures for the hunter to drop it. Thank you for giving us time to prepare. I was also told to ask for one dragon bone. Aye, of course. The carpenter looks around. Pay for the messenger. Just give me a minute. He scurries away as quickly as his thick legs allow him. We don't carry dragons with us, the hunter explains. So how large is the beak? Something like this? He demonstrates the size with his hands, and for another few minutes showers you with questions. Finally, the dragon bone finds its place in your hand. Aye, I'll get to preparations soon, concludes Elah, gasping for air and leaning against the railing, while Ephron lopes away, apparently to prepare the animal pen, as there's no time to waste. The carpenter invites you to follow him to his working station. Old Pagos is suffering from a plague. The village is isolating itself from outsiders. He freezes, puts away his tools, then looks at you with wide eyes. Wait for a bit, will you? Without waiting for your response, he springs up and knocks down a few planks as he lurches away, asking his neighbors to call the entire tribe. People surround you, asking what's going on, and once the news spreads, you answer dozens of questions. The most of what you have to say could be summed up with, I'm not sure. Aside from the worried faces, there are also more pragmatic ones. Hunters mention that they won't be able to deliver their autumn pelts, while one of the farmers wonder about her cousin. She was always so pious, she says with an accent you remember from Old Pagos. May the right reward her prayers, or else. After some time, the crowd pays you little attention, and Eli leads you back to his workshop. They and I will discuss this later, he says with an absent voice, then sits down and glances at his neighbors. Oh cool, we can now ask about Asterion. I think that's a good stop point for now. My throat is trashed from all the narration. No, Asterion is not well, I don't know. He may be. I don't think he is. He's not that Asterion. He's the old Roadwarden, who I am now basically taking over his job. But let's go ahead and save. But yeah, so it's Thursday, so I probably won't be back on until Tuesday of next week. So what is that? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, the 9th. So we will reconvene at 5 p.m. Central Time on the 9th. And well, it kind of seems like Eli might be trusting me, so that's good. So we'll hopefully get some more information. Maybe, I mean, I really want to get to the point where I can put Eudocia's rods up, because maybe she'll start to trust me then too. I feel like it's a lot of like give and take here. Like you got to do these little jobs for each of them to get them to start trusting you, so that you can do more jobs for each of them. But we'll see. I think I'm at like, I think I'm getting close to like a quarter of way through my time, which isn't great, but we'll get there. Anyway, appreciate you hanging out, and I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
you.